day, but not sure if you know that the entire month of November is actually Veterans Month. And I'm really, really excited to have this program today. So on today's stream, we're going to be talking about one of New York's greatest assets. Of course, that's our veterans. You may not know this, but 7% of our entire population are veterans. That's 688,611 people. For the other 93%, thank you all and all New Yorkers for appreciating you. 70% of our state's veterans, you might not know this, are actually over the age of 60. That's 440,000. And our office, New York State Office for Aging, and many of our partners at the county level and community level, we serve more than 25,000 veterans annually on our caseload. And that's why cross-agency partnerships are so important. You know, we're going to be talking with the Department of Veterans Services, but veterans, just like older adults, touch many, many systems. And that's why I'm so glad to have this program today with one of my favorite people in the state and who our guest is today. She's a Marine Corps veteran, and we're excited to welcome her to Veterans Month. And there she is. Our guest, like I said, is one of my favorite people in New York. She's the Commissioner of the New York State Department of Veterans Services, Viviana DeCohen. So Viviana, welcome, and so much for being with me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much again with one of my favorite people as well. Thank you so much for having me. Happy Veterans Day is Veterans Month across New York State. Happy Veterans Month, everyone.
Absolutely. So there are so many resources that support New York veterans and their families, and I think a lot of people don't know about them, and that's what this is really all about. New York State offers more than 60 unique veterans benefits, and we'll take a look at those and what they are, and we'll also share how New York State agencies have been collaborating over the last few months, but really over the last few years, to bring veterans and their families a special set of opportunities this month. What many of you may not know is because of our partnership with Viviana and her amazing staff at DVS, we added a veteran screen to our comprehensive assessment years ago because of all these benefits that they offer that veterans may not be aware of, so that we can identify a veteran and make that soft handoff. So veterans and the families that love them and support them, this show is for you. And for everybody else, the 93%, always say thank you to veterans who have given us the lifestyle that we are accustomed to. So before we get back with Viviana, I want you to take a look at this.
You've heard it before. Thank you for your service.
Some of us brush it off and hope it'll pass by unnoticed.
Some mumble a thank you and keep moving.
Some say I was just doing my job.
And for some, there's a weight, a feeling that maybe they could have done more.
But today, I'm asking that you hear us.
You stepped up and shipped out.
Left your home, your family, and your friends. You fulfilled a sacred duty defending our rights, our freedoms, and our nation.
You fought for our independence and the pursuit of happiness.
You belong to the 7% of Americans who stood tall, took an oath, and vowed to serve this great nation.
So, when the other 93% of Americans thank you, understand this.
You've earned it, and you are absolutely deserving of it.
We salute you.
We salute you.
We salute you.
We salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Your service, your benefits, our priority.
Now, live with Greg Olson, Director of the New York State Office for the Aging.
So I love that video because you'll recognize Viviana, you might recognize me, but the others in those videos are commissioners of other state agencies, also spreading their thanks. But because we work together, it's a group effort. So always remember, if you have questions, please put them in the chat so we can get to them at the end. New York State has a deep military tradition. At West Point and Fort Drum, thousands of young men and women train to protect our country. The New York and National Guard are 16,000 strong in New York, and we can't forget the more than 13,000 Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps reservists. There are nearly 70,000 active duty soldiers in New York State. We're really proud again to have Commissioner Viviana DeCohen here with us to talk about what they do the resources that are available to you and to your families across New York State. So, Viviana, let's start with, what seems to be a simple question, but maybe not. What is the definition of a veteran? And do some people who have served in the military have a misconception about who is and who may not be a veteran?
Absolutely. There have been so many different laws passed and so many different narratives across the way. But 38 USC, the code, states that a veteran is a person who served in the active military, the naval, the air service, now it's the space, you'll hear that, and who was discharged or released from under conditions other than dishonorable. Now, here's the thing that I want so many folk to know. A lot of people do not allow you to know that they have served because they have the other than honorable. They have a dishonorable discharge. One of the things that we created, Greg, across the state is faith and service. So we've gone into the various houses of worship with the attempt of meeting our older veterans who've not yet identified or applied for their benefits. What we did not expect to find was that a great number of our older pastors, rabbis, and imams themselves served. And because of their situation during their time, when their wives were in labor having babies, they were not allowed to leave the base. They went AWOL and received a dishonorable discharge. So to speak to that, we now have the restoration of honors. So we're restoring the honors for those and going back into now the houses of worship. Every house of worship usually has a wellness day or health and wellness event. We are now at those events for those who've served. Here's the other thing that I need people to understand, and I'm taking the message across the state. When you're saying thank you for your service, please understand, and I'm speaking for all those who have served, the word service entails all the etymology of harsh terms. People don't understand this. Service is not fluffy or cute. So thank you for the sleepless nights. It means to travail, as in labor, as in pain, as in putting, your own comforts on the back burner so that others can be comfortable. We have the military term of embracing the suck and doing it anyway. And pain is just weakness from your body. But they have to understand, especially for those from the Vietnam who did not come home with a thank you, that service embodies them walking the floor with the memories so that others could sleep peacefully. So, when people are saying thank you for your service, that is what they're thanking you for. Thank you for putting your own comforts on the back burner so that others could have the freedom and the rights that they have now. So it's a whole new message for those saying thank you, but also, for our amazing veterans, and again, especially for those who've served long before so many of us, let them thank you, because that's what the thank you is. For those long nights walking the floor, and Mama V can tell you, I'm from the 80s, for those nights that we had to stand guard in the thunder, rain, and lightning without a shack, the gas chamber, and taking off the mask. And Greg, I always kid when I'm with my older folk, because I'm the older folk now, is that we did not know that gas chamber, honey, would have every kind of mucus coming out of you, and you just had to wrap it around your waist and move it on out, But thank you for that. That's the thank you for the service. That's the meaning of service. Travail, to hit, to batter, to smite. Old ideas and regimes of who may serve and what that service looks like. It looks like all of us.
I think it's an amazing message. And for the 93%, which I am one of them, you can't even wrap your mind around what you're talking about. And I'm glad that you talked about the definition of veterans, because, I'm going to say maybe 7-10 years ago, we had a staff person that was concerned, was also a veteran, and was unsure about his status and didn't want to say anything. And we hooked them up with one of your staff, Benjamin Pomerantz, who, again, statewide, nationwide, people know him as well as you, and was able to provide some really important help. You know, your mission is fairly simple: find and serve. What does that mean, and how do you actually do that as a state agency?
Super. So let's go back to the veteran. This is what we're doing with Find and Serve, because we found out through asking people and not assuming the voice of the veteran. I always say, you want the wisdom from an elder, listen with both ears on. So asking those who've served what it is that they need. We found out that folk don't know that they're veterans. They didn't know. So now we're coined the term, have you served? So our flyers are have you served. We're putting them now in the places and spaces where our folk are, in the houses of worship, in the laundromat, in the supermarket, in the CVS, the pharmacy, your local Piggly Wiggly, the post office. And guess what? Now we have the Veterans Mobile that hit the deck on the road, and the side of it says, for those who've served. Find and serve means that now we can get into the places and the spaces where folk don't normally go. So we are not afraid to roll into the mobile park home, because guess what? The folk who served are there. So many of them off the grid. And when they see for those who've served, they're saying, oh, hey, they said, I served. I'm not a veteran because I was just a photographer for 8 years in the Army. We're like, you're in the Army 8 years and you're not a veteran? No, because I was just a photographer. So in one day, you know, you find hundreds of people. Now, we've done this across the state, Greg, and I'm telling you, our folk who've been doing this for years, they always say, Mama V, you know, we love you, but we know who our veterans are in our town. So in my own town, 4 by 4 square miles, where there were assumed to be 3 women veterans, 3 women who served. We put up that signage, and guess what? There were 101 women in my town who've lived there 35 plus years. So doing this across the state, in the smallest of town, when we put up signage for those who've served, we're finding and we're serving by asking, what is it that you need? Because guess what? Now the grandparents like me, I'm a grandma of 10, have the grandchildren. I don't, but many have grandchildren living with them. So now we have the Operation Baby, so that you can assist your grandchild who is having that baby with baby cribs and changing tables and diapers and clothing. You know, it means that we can get to those places and spaces. And again, don't discount us because you think that we're senior. Here's the thing that I tell people: service never ends for the veteran. God, country, family. That's why we take in the grandchildren, and the children can come back home. And then it extends on to the community. For us, community may look like the houses of worship. Well, guess what? Don't forget to honor each other and honor those who've served inside the houses of worship. If you can pray for everything else, please pray for those who have served and currently serving the country. It looks like in assisted living, honoring those who are in assisted or independent living by having, time out to say thank you and letting them know who they are. And then the Find and Serve allow us to go into assisted livings and to go into the communities with a great proclamation. You understand? Or if someone's having a monumental birthday, their 100th birthday or an anniversary of service, that we can go into those places and spaces. So that's what the Find and Serve is. Finding those who are out there that did not know that they were veterans. The 70s and 80s veteran, I'm an 80s veteran, I got in the 80s. There was no off-board for us. There was no year in advance planning, and this is how you do a resume in the checkbook, and now, these are your services, go to the VA. There was none of that. We knew we had the VA home loan. We did not come under what was called, the GI Bill. It was called VEAP when we were in, the Veterans Education Assistance Program. We put in the $50, and no one knew. If you're not a veteran and don't know, then you don't know, Greg, that you're a VEAP, went under VRAP, and then the VRAP went under this chapter, you have no idea. You just got out of service. You didn't know that you could go to the VA for the health care, and then now the VA is a whole new health care. I get amazing care. I have to tell you, everybody, this is not our grandparents' VA. I get amazing care. If I need an x-ray, they send me right up, and then they're waiting for me at the elevator, escort me in. My eyeglasses are at home. If I'm doing something with the weight, because Mama V's coming down now, they send the scale to my house before I even get there. And it's an amazing thing that we're doing. So all across the state, we are finding you, those who have served. All right. And again, we don't care now your discharge, because we can work with you now with the restoration of honors, because some are even eligible if you have gotten hurt in boot camp. Then guess what? That injury is a service connection. If you serve 1 day and you broke your ankle, guess what? There are benefits for you. If you didn't finish boot camp, there are benefits for you. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is fantastic, because it's exactly what people need to hear, right? Just a change in language and marketing, and what a difference that made. You talk about your hometown and what you found. 3 people, there was over 101. And as you said, they're everywhere. I mean, like on our caseload, as I mentioned earlier, we got 25,000 people and they self-select as, yes, I'm a veteran. So how many more are we missing? Need to change our language as well. But the average age of veterans in New York State is 66 and a half years old. So whether you're younger and you have these great new benefits, or if they're new or not that you talked about with cribs and diapers and the mobile VA, what are some of the types of things that you have for the older veterans?
Yeah. So this is what we have. And this is what we want folk to know. Your service-connected disability is there. Your VA pension, and that's for non-service connected. This is why you want to know. It behooves you to sit with someone and find out what it is. Everyone says, I'm okay. I'm a Marine, so I'm always telling you I'm not okay with chronic back problems and compressed disc and chronic pain that I live with. And, you say that you're okay. But, it behooves you to sit with someone and find out what it is you're eligible for. And then let's talk about some of the symptoms, Greg. All right. At age 60, don't tell my husband. Next year is the 65. 65 sounded better than, okay. So at age 60, I can share with you that I'm just getting service connected last year, because again, I did not realize the services that I was eligible for. And so there's something called tinnitus. The younger generation, they have the triple sound out headsets when they get on that rifle range. We had no such thing in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s before that. So there's something called tinnitus. So many of us get that alien calling us up sound, and we think that it's radio frequency. And then when we ask other people, do you get that sound? And they all say yes. But in retrospect, the people that we're asking are also fellow veterans. So we were on that rifle range and we have the tinnitus. Well, that's a 10% service connection right there. And then as you're getting older and it's getting worse, and now you need the ocular hearing aids, guess what? That's a service connection that you are missing out on. And you may say, well, I don't need it, but your grandchildren may need it for a school book. Let's talk about death benefits, or the DIC for the widows. One thing that I want everyone to know about is the aid and attendance, which is driven by the income. Why is this important? Because as we age, and I tell people we're all aging, not just the folk, everyone, the young kid. I told the 23-year-old the other day, in 2 weeks, you'll be my age. Enjoy it. So, as we're aging, the aid and attendance may allow you to stay home with assistance and get paid for it. Or if you're in assisted living, it may stop you from having to move out when you think you've run out of money. So again, for income driven, but get on our site or call us to ask us if you qualify. Could be an extra $2,800 a month for you as a person who served as a veteran. And if your spouse is in need, it could be an additional, in addition to the $2,800, an additional $1,800 plus a month. Now, this is money, again, you may not need it, but you have earned this by right of your service. And so Mama V is the first example of having applied for my benefits. And as I said, I've gotten my first 10% because I want everyone to know it's never too late. All right. Also, there's a blind annuity. All right. You need to know about that. And then the property tax exemption. You could be throwing money away. And again, it's not that you need it. People ask me, what is it that you want for the veteran? And truly, I say everything, Greg, because if we could bounce a basketball and do a perfect layup, everything in that superstar's home would be in our home for having served our country. So what is it that we want? We want everything. But I don't want you to miss out on services that may be earned, and just throwing that benefit away. Also, you may be eligible for the beautiful state veterans home. Honey, I've already picked out my room. It's gorgeous there, and I've been to all of them. You may be eligible. Your spouse may also be eligible. So if not for you, think of those ahead of you. So those are some of the things that are there for you as we're getting older.
Yeah.
And again, those medical needs are right there for you. So if you need a back brace, they give you the back brace and the shoehorn, and for free because you've earned it.
Yeah, and I think to your point, because we're very similar in terms of the magnitude of the services that we provide, whether they be veteran services, and there's overlap, right? We provide those home care services too, but there's so many things that you're talking about. What I always like to tell people is you don't have to remember every single service, that I go through or that you may not be aware of. But you need to know where to go to start. And that's where you are. There may be people that at this time and place, they don't need those types of services, but there's certainly many that do. And it's not about trying to remember, the litany of things that are available, which you could never in this amount of time even outline. The point is there's organizations like yours where you just need to start with the phone call to then understand all the various things that are available, that you have earned.
That's right, Greg. That's right.
So we're going to take a quick break. What you're seeing here is DVS's website, fantastically laid out, very easy. Contact information is here as well. You don't have to remember all the things because there are too many to remember. You need to know where to go. So if you're like me, and I know every one of you are, you're watching TV every single day, and Medicare Advantage plans are trying to get you to call them to switch their plans and get their product. You're getting things in the mail. You're getting phone calls. You're being bombarded. And what we want to make sure is that you can go to an objective individual that is not selling you anything to get the information you need to make the choice that is right for you. Check this out.
Hi, my name is Greg Olson, and I'm the director of the New York State Office for Aging.
Hi, I'm Heather Leddick, and I'm with New York State Office for the Aging with the HIICAP program.
So right now is open enrollment time, but you can't turn on your TV without somebody trying to sell you one of their products.
So someone might ask, what's the right plan? How do I know what decision to make? And the best thing to do is reach out to HIICAP, the Health Insurance Information Counseling and Assistance Program. And you can reach us by calling 1-800-701-0501.
All of our counselors in New York State are state certified and highly trained. They're not selling you anything. What they're providing is information so that you can select the best plan that's right for you.
There's 15 prescription drug plans available for Medicare beneficiaries in New York State for 2024. There's 280 companies offering Medicare Advantage plans. Last year, HIICAP counselors helped Medicare beneficiaries save $115 million through prescription drug savings and other Medicare-related health costs. Medicare can be very complex, so we encourage you, if you have questions, to please call HIICAP today, 1-800-701-0501.
How is anybody expected to understand 280 insurance products and 15 prescription drug plans? Please call HIICAP today. It could be the best call you make this year.
Don't call the number on TV. Call this number.
That is the incredible Heather Leddick that runs our Health Insurance Information Counseling Assistance Program, and really take heed of that message. So Viviana, now we're going to switch over to providers a little and how important cultural competency is generally, but also within the military, and what people should keep in mind. What are the types of things that should be said, should not be said or avoided to help a service provider establish the right rapport with someone who has served in the military?
Thank you so much for asking that question. That's one of the things that I do travel across the state to ensure that our caregivers who are informal paid caregivers, as well as the formal, especially the formal caregivers, know about, as well as folk on college campuses, because the 60 and plus over, we were on our college campus heavily. And here's the thing that I tell people, Greg, right off the bat, because people still ask me, "Oh, you were a Marine? How many people have you killed?" That's the no-no. And then the other assumption is, especially as a caregiver going into the home, please, if you see the husband and wife, don't assume that the husband is the veteran and not the wife or both. All right, that's the other no-no. And please don't assume that we have or suffer from PTS. All right, and certainly don't treat us in that vein that you may need to know that information and treat us accordingly. Also, again, know that we are everywhere. We are on the college campus. We are at the forefront. And I always tell them, for those of us 60 and over, we have the old adage of how we lead and live. We do it from the front, hoping to be your best example, your voice of reason. We do it from the middle, being a team player with you and showing you how we like things done, and not having you assume our voice or the assumptions of what it is that we need. So ask us. We're a great team player. And then we are in the rear so that we can motivate you and propel you and push you to do what we have done and to hopefully do better than we have done. So we don't want the assumptions. So the military cultural, and now is no longer called competency, but humility, which is having the compassion and the empathy to be able to step in that person's shoes. So, we like to do things, and I tell people 60 and over, allow us to do what it is that we can still do while we can do it. We're not feeble and frail. All right. We like assistance, but you have to approach us in the right way, honey, and respect us and realize that we have served our country, but we are still serving our country. If you just take a moment to look and to listen and to ask us, you will be very surprised at the wealth of information that we can give you. And while the folk are on here, let me just say that includes the classroom, people. All right. Do not hesitate to acknowledge the students in your classroom, because there I was with my 70-year-old fellow veteran in the classroom. And if we had not said, "Hey, excuse me, you don't honor or celebrate those who've served, your veterans," and then the stories that he was able to provide to make the pieces come together. So that's all the military cultural competency / humility.
I mean, I absolutely love it. I think the first time that I met you, we now, for the audience members, Viviana and I testified together at the annual budget hearing. So we get to sit next to each other, and I've heard her recite many of these things before. And I think the messaging, but the reality behind the messaging is really so important. And we say the same thing. I love the specificity on veterans. We say the same thing about older adults. Your age does not define you. You have a lifetime of, family history, workforce history, hobbies, et cetera. That is no different if you're a veteran or not, but you have so much more, to give back if you approach people the right way and give them a chance and not make assumptions.
That's right. And here's the thing, Greg, and because we talked about this. People want the numbers. So they want to study us as numbers. And we understand because numbers can correlate into dollars sometimes. But here's the thing, and I tell people, and you know how I feel about this. I am not a quantitative person. I am a qualitative person, which means for me, I go into what's called the phenomenological. That means the lived experience of those who have served. That means that we cannot and should not assume the voice of the veteran. We need to ask you what it is that you need across the state. And so because of you, number one, I'm here. I stand atop your shoulders as those who've served. So you see me on this screen today, you're really seeing yourself. I'm a mere reflection of all of you. But because of asking you what it is that you want, we were able to change our intake form to be inclusive of so many of you. So now it's not just about the claims. We're known for claims and we do great. We just recouped, by the way, someone who waited years and years and years to apply and got over $300,000 recouped, plus 7 years worth of copay. But asking you what it is you want has allowed us to reframe and to rewrite the narrative of our intake form that now asks you, do you have somebody in your home that needs to be employed? All right. Because again, your grandchild may be living with you and employable. But also, do you have a family? Are there any school age children in there? Do they need book bags and clothing? And again, your grandchildren may be there and they may need the things that we readily have in resources: socks, clothing, coats, book bags. That's easy now. And that came from the voice of our older veterans, because the younger ones are still trying to hide and trying to find their way back into society. But the older ones say, yeah, I can tell you what I need. I got 3 grandchildren, living with me right now. And, buying one book bag is hard enough. And our book bags are stuffed with the books and everything, and the bumper socks. So, when you see me, Greg, you're seeing all of the amazing veterans across the state whose shoulders I am standing upon. And that first one was right there, inside the college.
I think it's great. Governor Hochul has been extraordinarily supportive of New York State's veterans. Having you appointed is and your leadership. All anybody has to do is listen to this conversation to see how caring you are, how dedicated you are to not only veterans, but their entire families. Your staff is just spectacular. Under that context, what are some of the new things the department has launched that you're really, really proud of?
Good. So I want to start with 15 digital kiosks that are now across the state, at the welcome centers, at the Grand Station, at airports, that say, thank you for your service, that you can just go and tap the screen. I want to know more about this or that, tap the screen and just to get in touch with us. So that's great. The Veterans Mobile Unit is huge. Again, what is it to see a mobile that's just for you, that says for those who've served, and to wander over and say, hey, what's this? And to be able to sit there with someone inside at a desk and do a veterans benefits checkup. We all do our annual checkups, all right? If we can do an annual physical checkup and the dental, then you should be doing an annual veterans checkup. Why? Because the laws change all the time, and you may be missing out on some much needed information. Also now, Bomba socks are on there. You can get information. You all need to know this about free legal services. Now it includes, with the New York State Bar Association and so many of our other partners, free assistance with adoption. You may want to formally adopt your grandchild to be able to get benefits for them. Everything from A to wills and living testaments and things of that nature, and planning. We also have our own New York State cemetery for the first time at Finger Lakes, our emergency housing fund, which allows for emergency home repairs. We had a seasoned senior, which I like to call him a seasoned senior, Greg, that was inside their home and could not get out because the stairs needed to be repaired. So up to $2,000 grant. We had another veteran on the verge of losing their home. So it covers the rent, it covers the emergency utilities, it can cover mortgage. We capped it at $155,000 so that everyone who is in need could have this, and to avoid having to be turned outdoors. But also because, guess what? Not because you just need it. All right, sometimes you just need it, but because you have earned it. This governor has allowed that. You've earned it. Also, listen, a lot of people don't know, we have the Carnegie Hall Lullaby program. So a lot of our parents and grandparents are having lullabies made. They're being merged with a professional singer, and guess what? They're helping you to develop a lullaby for that beautiful baby or grandbaby. My children are older, and I'm still going to do it. I'm going to leave a legacy for my 39-year-old son in the Navy and my 19-year-old. So the Carnegie Hall Lullaby. The Fresh Connect programs are still out there, are giving that. Getting ready to do some great women initiatives. So look out for that. You're going to see something very, very special coming on. But Veterans Day is Veterans Month. So also we have free haircuts that's happening right now from New York City and in between all the way to Buffalo. Free haircuts, free health screenings will be done on every Wellness Wednesday right here in the Concourse Plaza in Albany. Why? Because all of those who've served are not yet in the VA. So we wanted to make sure that we had something for everyone and for your family as well. Our first Veterans Day program is going to be happening at Albany. And guess what? We don't just want you to sit there and listen to speeches all day. So we have trolley rides that are going to be happening. Yep, trolley rides in Albany, and you're going to see some of our great veteran monuments for free. We have refreshments, so food, trolley rides. We have a big band that's coming, Albany Law Center at 2:30. Sign up. You must register. All right. So we know who's going on the trolley ride. And if you don't, you can come and sit in the Albany Veterans Center. And then we have free giveaways. Mama V loves to give stuff away. So we have great partners across the state who are ready to say thank you for your service. And here's what I tell people, Greg, you can say thank you. Please, we want you to say thank you. But I want you to show me thank you. All right, so I need more people next year to open up those barbershops and those hair salons for more free haircuts and more free hairdos. I need the movie theaters to give us more free movies, which is what we had last year. But I need more folk to say, listen, here's a free cup of coffee. You know, and not just on Veterans Day, but Veterans Day is Veterans Month. And really every day is Veterans Day. but what does it take to say thank you? But those are just a few of the many things that we have for you.
Yeah, and so again, I'm gonna urge anybody listening live or is going to be listening in the future, and we're going to hit a lot of people. Whether you're a veteran or you know somebody, in your circle, push this out to them. 1 hour of their time. There are so many things that Viviana talked about. You would have no idea even exist, and you don't need to remember them. You just need to get in touch with DVS. So, when you and I were talking about doing this, obviously there used to be just a Veterans Day. Now it's Veterans Month. And you told me, I think you did 300 plus events last year. And look, I'm not saying anything about your age. You're not slowing down, but you're doing like 190 events this month alone or something along those lines. So what are some of those, what are some of the things that are going on around the state?
Good. So just so you know, with those free haircuts, I'm stopping in those places, as many of them as I can. But there's Veterans Breakfast that's happening. We are doing a salute to our state employees for the first time. We have not forgotten our caregivers who are dealing with Alzheimer's. So we have our Alzheimer's program that is happening. We are supporting our SUNYs and our CUNYs at their programs, and then Mama V is going to be in a lot of the senior homes and assisted livings. Have invited me to come, so I'll be coming with a proclamation in hand for all of the veterans that are housed there. And please invite me. Don't think that I'm too busy. If I am available anywhere from Boogie Down, Bronx, New York City, all the way to Buffalo. If Mama B is available, I will be there. And I tell people I don't have to be the keynote speaker, honey. I'm so happy just to walk in the room and wave and say, hey, that I'm here to support you and any program that you are having, because your service means not just so much, but your service means everything. The right to say, the right to do, the right to the freedoms that we have. And again, you have embraced the suck. All right. Service is the highest call to which you can answer. Even Socrates says, there's no higher good that I can do than that of my service. Why? Because it's tough. It's not easy, but you put your hand to the plow and you have pushed, not with your hand, but you have pushed with your shoulder. And again, all of these great things that you're hearing that we're able to do is because of your service. It's because of you. I truly, and I don't just say that, to appear humble, but anyone knows any award that I've gotten, I thank first, I thank my daughter who's watching over me, but I always say that I dedicated back to the amazing veterans who have served. I stand atop your shoulders. I'm here only because of you, as the first girl with eyeglasses in the Department of Veteran Services since 1946. That's you. And please, Greg, let me reiterate. Don't go by your discharge. The time is now. If you have a dishonorable or other than, contact us. Let us work with you so that we can overturn that verdict. Those with MST, the military sexual trauma, so many of our older people are coming forward now. We have not forgotten the people who are inside the Department of Corrections, because, Greg, nobody has told our older servicemen and women in there, all right, that they are still entitled to their 10% while they are serving, all right? And their family could use these book bags and clothing for their children while that veteran is being a seasoned senior on the inside. All right. There are things that they are entitled to. We have not forgotten them. And again, we've not forgotten those of you who are aging inside your homes and your houses of worship and your assisted living and your independent living. We have not forgotten you. You are not forgotten. All right. It is your voice that we want to hear.
And that's the message. So, heed the commissioner's words. So we're going to take some audience questions when we come back after the break. Want to introduce you to Roger Noyes, who's our communications director, who's going to tell you a little bit about our YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Roger Noyes, Director of Communications for the New York State Office for the Aging. Please visit our YouTube channel today. Like and subscribe, and you'll find all of this great content to support older adults, their caregivers, and people who love them. Please subscribe today.
All right, we got a few minutes for some questions for Viviana. So let's see what we got from the audience, because I know we got some. It has been 49 years since my last military service. I've never filed a claim for VA benefits. I believe I have medical conditions related to my military service. Is it too late to apply now? And I know what you're going to say.
You already know. I got out in 1987, and I just applied last year and received my first 10%. It is never too late to file a claim for your VA benefits. And again, it's not that you don't need them. And I hear folks say, oh, my income is too. It has nothing to do with income. All right. And listen, I have additional insurance too, but I get my care. I use my VA as my primary and my regular insurance as my secondary, because I get one. Look, these eyeglasses. Look at these eyeglasses. You remember the eyeglasses back in the day? They don't have those birth control eyeglasses anymore. All right. And now they give you a free pair. So you pick them out and they give you a free pair of eyeglasses, and then you get a second pair. So it does not matter how long you've been out. And here's the thing, remember that song back in the day that we used to sing, your foot bone connected to your ankle bone connected. So everything is connected. All right. So think and remember back that we carried 80 pounds, all right, in that backpack on our back, shoulders, neck, hips, all right, knees, see how I'm going, ankles, feet. We wore a 70-pound flak jacket, all right, plus the rifle, the helmet. And then if you're old school like us, we humped the 10 miles, all right. I don't know what they're doing now, a mile and a half. We humped the 10 miles in the heat, black flag. And our black flag, if you say, oh, excuse me, ma'am, or sir, it's black flag, we're not supposed to be marching, means 100 degrees, then we were told, you get yourself back out there, you get back in there, recruit. You did not have the opportunity. So think about those harsh measures that you went through, standing in the water and the cold and your feet. It is never too late, because those little things from back then when we were kids, all right, we're feeling right now in our bodies. And guess what? That's a service connection.
All right. So again, make the call to DVS or reach out. So you said earlier, this is not our father's VA healthcare system. So this question is, what are the advantages to enrolling in the federal VA health system?
Number one, let me tell you from experience, you're going to get the best care. And then you can have the option of having that at one of the best facilities where you live. And if that's in Scarsdale, then darling, that means that your other facility could be at Scarsdale for the services. But one of the other things is we travel. Sometimes we want to move. And so wherever you are, once you are in the federal VA healthcare system, if you leave here and you want to go to Florida for the 6 months, which is what I'll do as I'm aging, and I need care there, I can walk into any VA healthcare system, and my records are already there. So it's going to follow you all around. And then you're going to get everything that you will need from head to toe and in between, and then all of the information. And don't forget, now you have the free legal assistance to help you fight your claims and to find out what it is that you've earned. And that's free of charge. I'm talking about the blue water on Camp Lejeune. I was in Camp Lejeune, and all the myriad of diseases and conditions to which you suffer the effects. All right. And the list is getting longer and longer. So it behooves you to get into the federal system, because your primary family doctor may not know to ask you, have you been overseas, or have you been here or there with the conditions that you have? They may just be looking for a family inheritance or things of that nature that you've inherited. So, it behooves you to have a military doctor who knows the questions to have you. That is as important as having a neurologist determine that you have dementia and not your family doctor, because they know the questions to ask you.
Yeah, that's a great point. This also looks like it's a part of a transportation question or more. If a veteran is isolated at home and can't get to a DVS office, how can that veteran connect with your Veterans Benefits Advisors?
Wonderful. So 1-888-838-7697. Call us. The old dial.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to ask Darren to put that in the chat for us.
Thank
Can you repeat that number one more time?
Yes. 1-888-838-7697. Or if you're savvy, because we're savvy, people think we're not savvy. The older folk, I'm more savvy now and getting more savvy every day. We're very savvy. Veterans, that is plural, veterans with an S.ny.gov. When you get on there, you're going to love that, because don't search all over. I go right to the search box and I put in what it is that I'm looking for, and it will come right up.
Excellent. Alex, looks like we have time for one more. So here we go. If I have an outreach event coming up in my community and I want to request a DVS employee, where do I request that?
Good. That same number, all right, please call. And listen, tell her Mama V told you to call. I get a kick out of when they say, Mama V, they said that you said to call. I get a kick out of that, because I know that not only am I hearing you, but I know that you've heard me, that you can be heard. And that's so important to me. And when you have someone come out at the event, we're coming with the table, but we're coming with information for you. But be prepared, because we want you to sit there. It is not too long for us to ask you, have you served here? Have you served there? And then to ask you those same questions. Do you have a grandchild in your home that you need help with? Let's see if aid and attendance, if you qualify for it. Now, you may not need it now, but let's see now if you do, so that you know what your options are. At this age, I like options. Anyone who served will tell you, don't push things on us, honey. Ask us what it is that we need.
It's outstanding. Viviana, it's such an honor to have you on the show. I wasn't blowing smoke, as you know, and I said you're one of my favorite people that I know, that I get to work with. Your passion is, off the charts. Simple message from today's show. Give you guys a call. Figure out what you may need now, but certainly if you need something in the future, that's where you need to go. So I cannot thank you enough. Your team has always been spectacular. We do a lot of work together, and New York is in a much better place under your leadership. So I cannot thank you enough. Thank you for your service, for all the veterans and families out there. Thanks for their service as well. I want to thank our communications team that makes these productions really, really great. Darren, Alex, and Roger. And our next show is going to be on food security in older adults and how you can help feed the hungry of all ages and older adults during the holiday season. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Please, like our YouTube and our Facebook, and send this out to any veteran or family member that you may know. Because again, going back to Viviana's original, in her community, there were 3 women who were veterans until that language change on service. Did you provide service? Identified 99 more people. So Let's get the word out there. We can all help. It's not just DVS's job. It's all of our jobs. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.